President says no extensions this time. Deadline August 1st. Doug Flynn's with us, co-founder at Flynn Zito Capital Management. I was saying earlier, it's like the snooze button or whatever, you want term you want to use. The people are, all right, just let me know at the end. But there's nobody freaking out in on Wall Street like we saw earlier in the year.
Yeah, big yawn today, and it's basically because, whether it's July 9th or August 1st, and it's definitely August 1st, but, well, maybe not. It's on, that. So we're all tariff fatigued, if you will, and so it's just brushing that off and looking beyond that and past that. And we're going to get through this. So that's what the market's feeling out and feeling pretty good longer term, even if in the short term there might be some adjustments that we can take advantage of.
He's threatening some pretty big numbers on especially some of the Asian countries. You might say there's a strategy there to bring manufacturing back to North America, if not to the United States of America. I'm not sure. But he's threatening some big numbers. But again, to go back to it, what we said a minute ago, and I know the anti-Trump people will use the taco trades that Trump always chickens out. But I don't know if it's necessarily, you have to say that. It's just a matter of what's going to happen. What's the reality? And I think there is an assumption, and we've talked about this now for weeks, that he won't go heavy. Maybe, and if he does, then the market's set up for a surprise.
Perhaps. I think, look, there's revenue to be had, and they're getting some of that revenue from this. It hasn't affected really GDP or inflation that we can see. And in fact, you're starting to see that. Most economists now are lowering their expected impact. Everyone had sort of settled in that this is going to cost us about a half a point in GDP and cost us about a half a point in inflation. And everyone's seemingly coming off of that now saying maybe it's only 0.1 to 0.2% impact either way. That's like negligible. So if you can create some revenue and not really impact people, maybe it worked. So we'll see how it actually all plays out, and it's all part of the long-term game here of getting somewhat of a better deal. What those final numbers are, nobody really knows yet.
All right, so it does speak to where the American consumer is, what they will tolerate, how much they will pay, whether companies will raise prices. We haven't seen, to your point, a lot of that yet. But speaking of the consumer, I do want to talk to you about Amazon for a minute, because they make a big deal of this so-called Prime Day, but now it's like Prime Week. It's like today and all the rest of the week. It's maybe it's become a big issue in your house too. You're smiling. Were you somebody hitting the
too
Amazon
many boxes?
Buttons? Right, a bunch of boxes this week. So what is it going to tell us? I saw the predictions like last year was 14 billion. This year they're saying 23 or 24 billion. Yeah. So because it's the number of days, does it mean, if that's the truth, we have a very healthy consumers? I mean, we just like discounts. I mean, I wonder what we should read into this week.
Yeah, so, you got different numbers from consumer confidence going down, but consumer sentiment going up, two different indices. So you're getting mixed numbers from that. Look, what happened with the Prime Day, now it was 2 days, now it's going to be 4 days, is that, people are getting sort of tired of that. So it's not really having the same impact. They're trying to do more. They're trying to get even more people to sign up for Prime memberships. I can't believe there's 180 million people in the U.S. alone that have Prime memberships. I don't know how many more people you can possibly get, but they're trying to get people globally. And so there's that. It's a big moneymaker for Amazon, and the consumer is a big part of the U.S. economy. But interestingly, looking at Amazon, it's not just about Prime. It's about the advertising that goes in on this Prime Week, if you will. Right. That part of the business is already over $50 billion a year to Amazon. So they're creating recurring revenue on the Prime memberships. They're creating other avenues for additional revenue and income, and that's why this, it's the number 4 sized company in the world, the 4th largest company in the world by market capitalization. So I guess they want to be even bigger, and this is a way to do that. But the consumer there is still spending. It's starting to, slow down around the edges, but not having an overall big impact that's measurable yet.
Thank you, Doug. As always, Doug Flynn on that. Now.